I love that music. That means it's time to start the Sports Ranter. Here we are live once again at 6 p.m. at your favorite YouTube channel. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Nick, for joining us here once again after week 15. You might hear a little more pep in my voice, because I get to represent the Sports Ranter show going into the last four again. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm not like Nick, where every chance I can freaking claim back to back to back, whatever. But I'm really hoping I have a really, really, really tough game this week against Speedy, the number one highest scorer. It has to be against the highest scorer. But that's where we're sitting at after this week. Jake, tough outing, your number one highest scorer in the losing bracket, right? This week in Nick's league, and also tough situations against Kenny and Nick. I don't mean to bring it up. You're just sharing it. I'm sorry. I don't mean to bring it up, but Nick, please, you always have some type of playoff run every year. Let me know, Nick. What do you got? Did you squeak in the playoffs somehow, in some way,
Um,
in other
I made
leagues? Other leagues?
I made it in 3 out of 4 leagues.
Okay, there you go.
I just didn't make it in my league.
No.
I did get eliminated in two of them this weekend. Was not a good weekend.
Ugh.
Advanced in one, squeaked it out. I was down by like 4 points, and I had Jalen Warren left Monday night, and I'm sweating it all Monday night. Of course, leading up to Monday, they go, "Oh, Jalen Warren's questionable with an illness." And I'm like, "Great!" I was like, I thought I had it locked in the bag, and I'm watching the game, and they're just giving him handoffs here and there, 2 yards, 3 yards, and this is a decimal point league, so it's going up by point one. I'm just sweating it. And I see Gainwell just running all over the place. And I'm just like, come on, Jalen, just break one. Give me a catch. Like, one of those types of Monday night games because my other two leagues I got eliminated. And so luckily he did pull it off at the end. I won by like 2.5 points, 3 points. So I'm advancing. I'm playing the high man now of the league, playing the number one seed. So we'll see how it goes. I have Josh
Wow.
Allen in that league. I got
Oh.
Bijan Robinson. I got
Oh.
ETN. So those are my big hitters that
Oh.
I need. That I need. My receivers are hit miss. I got Devontae Smith and Michael
Dude,
Pittman and
sounds
stuff
like
like
that's
that.
my team in my league almost, man.
Yeah, I got Bowers, same thing at tight end. So it's like
Mm.
hit. So it's like we'll see. But in the other leagues, like this week was so crazy for. So there's a guy in my league, legit team. I have to pull it up because it's the lowest score I've ever seen in a playoff. Okay. He scored
What?
44 points.
What?
Legit
In a playoff game?
44 points. Yes. And I like had a blink. Um, so he had Joe Burrow, Pickens, Jamar Gibbs, Omarion Hampton, Kincaid, Judkins. Like this guy's team is stacked. It's legit. Only one person got double digits. It was his kicker, Bates, got 11 points. Everybody else, single digits
Wow.
across the board. Defense was San Francisco defense, 0 points. Um, and he did get screwed over with the Dunze last minute. He didn't know he wasn't going to play. He was questionable. It was a last minute scratch for him. So he got the zero there. Not that it would have mattered, but I played, the reason other leagues, like I played against Trevor Lawrence. Like the guy hasn't done anything all year, you know. Play against Trevor Lawrence. He scores 6 touchdowns, and stuff like that. And then, in another league, same thing. A guy scored 190 points because
Wow.
it was a really big hit or miss week with fantasy this week. Like either you had the studs that went
Mm-hmm.
off or the randoms that went off, or like I just showed you, the guy had a bunch of studs on his team and just a bunch of zeros. So it was a real interesting first week of the playoffs, um, with all the scoring up and down. But I got one league. It's been a while since I haven't won a league, so I gotta squeak one out. I usually win one, or at least I'm in the championship in one or two of them. You
Out
know,
of four?
I had a 4 or 5. I've been doing 5. I dropped down to
Yeah.
4 this week. So yeah, I'm always in contention with one
Right.
of them, not winning one. So I'm at jeopardy of not winning any this year if this team doesn't advance. But it's been a great year. It's been a weird year as we talked about all year. But yeah, the points are so fluctuating with everybody, and I'm sure you guys have the same
It's
experience.
kind of why I asked you
Yeah.
because every year, it's kind of like one of the things I envy about you. Other than your back-to-back try, attempt, you're always talking about how you got one league in the playoffs. Well, I'm in the, I only got one league in the playoffs. So
I
thanks for
mean,
coming through with that.
3 out of 4 is
For
not
our
bad. I'm
yeah,
always
for our
3
viewers,
out of something.
Jacob, you got interesting stories happening. I'm sure you too. You always come through some in all your leagues, but let us know what's happening.
Yeah, I made it in 3 out of 6, and one of those being the Dynasty League. But and I got, and then of course in my league, I made it in, and then
What
Wow.
happened? What happened?
in another league. What's that?
I want to know what happened in your league. I don't know what happened. I'm
So
interested.
I ended up getting in. Hold on, I ended up getting in as the let me get to the playoff bracket. I ended up getting in as the 5th seed, and I played Kenny Garcia, who was the 4th seed. Andrew Allen had the bye, and Jeff Seedley had the bye, and then with the 3rd seed was Richie Contreras, who Richie finally gets back into the playoffs, and then he was playing Alex Rivera, who was actually the high scorer, of the season, the regular season, but. Standard league, so obviously the total scores are a little different, but I'm looking down at Alex and Richie. Richie beats Alex. He puts up 80 points. Alex puts up 73 points.
Oh wow.
I put up 134 points. I'm feeling pretty good. Kenny
Yeah.
Garcia
Wow.
goes off for
Oh.
165 points
Oh wait, in a
Wow.
standard league?
in a standard league, and Nick, in our league we have an extra flex. In my league we do not. So he had the Travis Etienne go off.
I'm on St. Brown probably.
He had St. Brown
I knew it.
And
Mm.
CeeDee Lamb,
Mm.
and Trey McBride went off. So
Trey McBride.
yeah,
Mm.
so I had a good week. Josh Allen carried me. Bajan had a great week. I finally got that good spot start defense with the Bears. They got me 19 points. Fairbairn gave me 7, but it was just if I would have been in the other bracket, I'd be moving on. But that's just the way it goes. The Dynasty League, I ended up losing, which I kind of inherited that team this year due to some unfortunate circumstances. So, I don't really count that. But I did make it through in one final league, one other league that it's just another league. We're in it with a few guys that are in our leagues, and then a few randoms. But yeah, overall, it was just kind of disappointing. I feel like I feel like especially in my league, Josh Allen just carried me, so much through the season, and it was just like, but Kenny was a bust. So I'm looking at his team. I got to go back and look at the draft. How he got CeeDee Lamb, Amon Ra, and Trey McBride, blows me away. I can't remember if he traded or not, but yeah. So, anyways, heartbreaking, of course, Nick, in your league. I put up a great score when it didn't matter. I started Kyle Pitts in Nick's league.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for no reason at all.
There's no reason.
And I had picked him up prior, so I don't like to go on the waivers and mess around if I'm not in the playoffs. But yeah, that was it, man. It was kind of a somber weekend. There wasn't anything really even exciting. I mean, Kenny blew me out of the water.
Well, I can tell you what, I was definitely emotionally invested into this weekend. Andrew has owned me. He's one of those guys that ever since I started crossing his path with fantasy football, I just freaking lose. And come on, guy, I got you again. But he's always got me, right? So there's a little bit of an emotional investment. I wish he was here right now, but I didn't want to look at anything. I just didn't want to look at it like. I was already mad with my team because I've made it, but I always got 2 or 3 starters on my bench. And same thing, they're up again. Drake London, Marvin Harrison might play. Boom. Out last second. And I am just like, you have got to be kidding me. But I want to share with you, Nick, what I was telling Jake before you got here. I'm on medical leave. To the million viewers out in the world, all right, your main man, Ben, the host of Sports Ranters, he's on medical leave, okay? But I got a lot of things to do. I got to do some cars. I got to clean up. I got to do the house. Got to work out. Got to do some business endeavors. But 1 hour of every day throughout the whole week, Nick, was geared towards staring at my roster and figuring out a way to squeak out these wins, because I had to anticipate this Drake London and Marvin Harrison situation. And knowing how our league is, ain't no one going to drop a nice guy. They're just going to keep them on their team and not let me have them, right? So I'm stuck with Kayshawn Booty and all this crap to start. I have to start him. I got to start a tight end, Hawkinson, in my flex spot because it's so bad, And so, but I got the brag and toot about my favorite pick. It might have been my favorite pick of the year, because I was already stacking 2 defenses. Who was the asshole that stacks 2 defenses? Well, I was. Jacob, the situation was either the Bills or the Patriots. I've been carrying the Patriots all year. I wanted to use the Patriots against Andrew. I talked about it last week. I wanted to use Andrew's waiver wire Patriots versus him in the game. But it was versus the Bills. Or I had the Bills. And I'm sorry, even though it was snowing, I saw the same old 30-30 game with this game. I just saw it. Like, it had everything about it said high scoring game, so I just stayed away from it. And I just remember the conversation that we had, Jacob, last week about who was that guy that was so good? Shedeur Sanders, right? Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
We had this conversation about how good this man is, that I had so much faith. I had so much faith that I had to pick up Ben Johnson's Bears instead of it, right? So I didn't go Bills. I didn't go Patriots. I went nuts, and I went Bears versus Cleveland, and got me 25 points. It was pretty bad. And then I'll never forget Drew. I haven't looked at, like I said, I haven't looked at my stuff. I'm staying away from it. Drew goes off on the thread. Can't believe Ben's got 50 points with his kicker and his defense.
Savage.
So at that point, I knew I was feeling good. I was feeling better now. I wasn't as worried.
Yeah, too. Jason Myers, the Seahawks didn't score a touchdown. Like, that's just great. I mean, he's a great kicker. Seahawks, it's not luck, but it is luck in that game. They were in the red zone all day long and did not score a touchdown. Which, I'm sure if you look at, he's been your kicker, like Jason Myers probably 10 to 12 points every week, because the Seahawks score touchdowns. So it's pretty awesome for you that in this 1 week, like, they were in the red zone the entire game against the Colts and no touchdowns, 6 field goals. Freaking crazy.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that later in one of our segments, because we all have some interest in Mr. Phillip Rivers. So he definitely made a change in that game. But I definitely have to play Speedy this week, top scorer. I'm trying to figure out how is he the top scorer. When I look at his team, I see Josh Allen, I see Bijan, I see Devontae. I guess, but it's because Bowers too. But obviously, what he has is he has a highly ranked defense, a highly ranked consistent kicker. He's just always like, all right, Drew, all right, welcome. But you know what? Before I go on and yap, I was going on to a new segment, but it's okay. You're here now, Drew. Thank you for showing up. What you have missed so far is the emotional baggage I've carried all week trying to beat you in this game, okay? I admittedly shared with the 1 million viewers that you are the one guy that ever since I've crossed paths with you at fantasy, I have to admit that you just kind of always had me. Like, we're always talking, we're always doing this, we're always drafting, I'm always here, but you always fucking beat me, and I think you're a dick. Okay, but
I like that.
This
Hey,
was
you
my
got over the
weekend.
hump, bro.
This was the weekend I got over it, and like I said, what I just got done sharing is I stayed away from the phone, stayed away from it. I was telling you the same thing, but you kind of gave it away with the text with the 50-point kicker and defense. And it's kind of funny because Jake, the three of us last week, were talking about how good Shedeur Sanders could be. We're not saying, we're saying give him a chance. And Jake's like, the Bears are so good, but like I said, I just had to sweep up that Bears thing. I was just like, ooh. maybe Jake's right. Maybe Jake is right. So
Huge gamble playing the defense that's playing Shador. Huge
So
gamble
there is no difference. I can see why we all do that. I did the same thing once here against Ruel. I changed my quarterback, Colin Kaepernick. I sat on a Monday night, the last night on Candlestick Park. I sat Colin Kaepernick instead, and I went with the guy who got me there, Russell Wilson. But I didn't sit Kaepernick, and instead I would have won the game. And I'll never forget. It's fucking Jonathan Stewart beat me by 2 points, and all I needed was Colin Kaepernick. Anyways, Drew, I know that this is not your only league, so please let the viewers know where you're at and how this weekend went for you.
I mean, you go into the week. You're to begin the Thursday night football game start. Mike Evans, I was truly considering playing him the entire week, and I was going to either sit. I was either going to sit Jalen Warren or I was going to sit Justin Jefferson, because they've done nothing, and so I was even talking to Joe and Tomo about this at work. I'm like, dude, am I crazy? Am I crazy to start Mike Evans when he first comes back off IR? And I was really contemplating it, and then Shefty broke out the news around 4:30. He's going to be on significant plays and drives, and so I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to play him. I'm just I'm going to take a back seat on that. I'll wait for the next week if I advance. Comes out and gets 20 points. You know what I mean? He has 6 catches for 130 yards, and you're like,
yeah. Every time he was on the field, the play was to him.
So I was just like, dude, that's brutal. So I was like, okay, there's 20 points there. And then the defense, Buccaneers versus Atlanta Falcons. Primetime Kirk Cousins. Historically, primetime Kirk Cousins is terrible. And then all of a sudden,
I was scared.
I mean, he just goes off. He goes off, and the Bucs give me -3 points. So going into Sunday, I'm -3 to 0, and I'm like, all right, dude, my team's still stacked, I'm still projected to win, no big deal, I'll be okay. And so I'm looking into this game, and I'm looking into matchups, and Joe Burrow historically versus the Ravens. I'm like, bro, he has every good game that he has is against the Ravens. He kills the Ravens, right?
That was mind blowing.
We all do this.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put in Joe Burrow, whatever. Joe Burrow gives me 5 points. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on, bro? There's no way. And I'm checking the scores, and I'm seeing this, that, and the other. And I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous. Nobody's doing anything on my team. Long story short, it wouldn't have mattered if I would have started Joe Burrow with Dak or this, that, and the other, yada, yada, yada. It's just, when you're going against the guy who has a defense and a kicker who puts up 50 points, how do you win that? How do you win that? And I had Amon-Ra St. Brown gave me 40. I had players who even kept me close into the game. I actually thought I was gonna win. And your Chris Olave in the third quarter with a minute left had 1 point, and Juwan Jennings had 2 points. I'm like, bro, Saints offense is so trash. I actually have a chance to win this game. I really do. And then fourth quarter comes, Olave goes off in the fourth and gives you 20 points. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? It was tough. It was a tough game, bro.
Same thing with James Cook, though.
Yeah, James Cook too.
Nothing. And now all of a sudden, second half comes, they're down 21. The second half comes, and there's James Cook with 30 points.
Yep. I mean, James Cook has to be in that fantasy MVP kind of thing. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people took him as their second or third running back, and he is probably a top 5 running back right now in fantasy. So James Cook's been great. In my other league, I still have a lot going for me. So I'm okay.
I don't know. Kenny's team's hot, bro. Watch out for that.
Yeah, Kenny's team is hot. But in that league, I still have my monsters. I have Derrick Henry. I have James Cooks. I have Chase Brown, and then I still have, Drake May and this, that. I have good players in that. So hopefully I can stay in the water in the race over there. But we'll see, man. Kenny's team is cruising.
I see you already got Mike Evans in there. So.
Oh yeah, Mike Evans is in. Yeah.
Has Kenny won yet? Has Kenny won yet?
Kenny is not, but like I was saying a few weeks ago, Kenny's one of those guys that is just kind of quietly there every year. He's kind of quietly there.
Yeah.
And looking at your guys' I'm looking at your guys' roster now. We got I'll just go down just for people that are listening, because I do think a lot of the same players are kind of in those teams that are going into the deep into the playoffs. But Drew's got Drake May. He's got Kenny's got Stafford. Kenny hit the home run with ETN. For his running back. Drew's carrying Derrick Henry and James Cook. The standard league, those have been horses. But so I think that advantages to Drew. But Kenny's got CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra, and that was stacked with Trey McBride.
Yeah, Trey McBride too. I forgot about that.
But you know what? Drew comes bouncing back, and Drew, he's got Kittle. As long as Kittle against Indy, that's a big game for both teams. So, and then Drew, you did you traded for Chase Brown in my league, or
no, I drafted Chase Brown in the third round in the standard league. So I got him to fall.
Good on you for holding on to him. He plays Miami, and Kenny's starting to Neal, the running back for the Saints. So it's Drew's projected to win right now, but man, those receivers that Kenny's got are no joke, dude. They can put up some points. So
absolutely
be fun to see.
Absolutely. Well, moving forward, it's going to be exciting. Like I said, I got to face some speedy. Like I said, I'm mentioning I don't know if it is suspect, but I'm trying to figure out why he is the highest point scorer. But he has sneakily been one of the highest point scorers ever since he comes into the league, right, Nick? I'm trying to. Yeah. He is one of the guys where I think he stays home during the draft, but some of his picks are kind of suspect, kind of like me, right? Like I'll stay home, I'll make a pick, and then out of nowhere, you're like, what the fuck? Right, but
you're catching him at the right time, so
So I'm trying to see why, but I can see Devontae Adams, Bowers is nasty PPR. Obviously, Bijan, Josh Allen, they're just staples. They're just like the four horsemen.
Well, he had Vidal too all year, which is now not as worth. He was putting up a lot of points for him, and he just lost Devontae Adams too, and so and he lost Christian Watson too. So you're catching him at the right time. He's a little beat up, but with Josh Allen and Bijan, you just never know.
You know who represents, I think, the Kenny in our league, your league, Nick, is Jaime. He gets in this year, right? And I think he's been in a few other times, right? But he always has
I'm gonna cut out real quick just because I'm about to get the kids dinner. So but yeah, I'm gonna, if I can get back in, I'll get back in. But
no worries.
All right, bye.
Later, dude.
Jaime is like same thing, like stays home, kind of has his own ideas, has his own vision of the game, but he's always sneakily making points, and he's always threatening somebody. He always seems to be that guy every year in your league that's threatening somebody to get out of the playoffs. And this year, whatever happened with the point standing 7-7-7, he squeaks in. So, he's a newcomer, right? I think he's one of the newcomers in the playoffs, just like Speedy. So it's going to get interesting. So moving forward, I think the most interesting story that shocked the world, the NFL world, and it makes anybody relatable, especially if you're 45 years and younger. Mr. Philip Rivers gets called off of the high school football team to all of a sudden coach the Indianapolis Colts and makes a thriller of a game against the Seahawks. And regardless of what the outcome is, and regardless of the standings for the Colts or whatever playoff implications, that was a blast to watch, man. Some old school, passionate Philip Rivers football. And I tell you what, Nick, Jake, like I told you, I got no problem getting on the Philip Rivers bandwagon. What about you?
Oh, I love to see it. Obviously, you got to temper expectations, and first off, everybody has their...
that's your fantasy. That's your fantasy strategy. That's a good one. It's good though.
But the guy is getting, the guy literally had 3 days of practice. I was surprised they started him this week. I mean, that's a tall ask because Seattle's defense is no joke. I thought they'd give him a week to kind of get acclimated, but and everybody has their thing to say. Like they could have gotten this quarterback or that quarterback or whatever. But for me, it's just more kind of on it. Like obviously, you have our expectations. The guy, he looked like he had happy feet. I want to see now that he's going to have like a week of practice to kind of get timing down and things like that. Obviously, yeah, I would think it'd be so cool if he took him to the playoffs and got deep into the playoffs. Like it's a long shot, obviously, I know that, but when I hear this guy up in his press conference and he's like getting choked up, and he's telling people, it's like, you'll never know if you're afraid to do anything. It's a bigger lesson. I feel like that young kids and things like can kind of take away from it. I love the dude. I really do. The guy's up there and 4 years sitting on the couch, like he's got so much passion for the game. He was sitting there. He says every week he watches every play of the Chargers and every play of the Colts. He's out there coaching. They say in the off season he was working with Drake May, throwing balls and doing drills with him, getting him ready. Like the guy loves this game, and it's like, what? If they want to bring him in, like he's familiar with the offense, or saying he runs is like a similar offense in his, in his son's league and all that stuff. It's like, let's see what he's got. If he's willing to do it, why not? And
right.
He did. He almost, I mean, obviously there was a lot to do with the Colts defense and all that. But all in all, it's like he didn't fumble snaps. He didn't trip over his feet, like let's give him a week now that those first week jitters are out, and let's see what he does. It's just, it's a really good feel good story. And I've always loved Phillip Rivers because of just, we talked a few weeks ago, like what is a man and this and that. And the dude married his high school sweetheart. He's got 10 kids. He's got a grandkid. It's like, what a story it is. And I don't think he looked all that terrible. I wish they would have let him kind of open up and throw it down the field more.
He kind of looks like a clean shaven Ben Roethlisberger. Little bit heavy set, like just kind of sitting in the pocket, knows we're not going to run anybody away, and so
they're going to have to, the Colts are going to have to do more to keep the defense honest, because they were coming at him, and he wasn't going to get out of that pocket or anything like that, but he still looked like he had an arm to make a read and throw it 10 15 yards downfield, even though they only threw, I think, past 10 yards twice. But the Colts went all in on the trade deadline to get Sauce Gardner in, and gave up some first round picks. So it's like, they're doing everything they can to kind of, salvage the season. And I'm sure once they're mathematically out, Rivers will be gone and stuff. But, I'm rooting like hell for them to get a win and, and see how far I can go. Cause the guy, there's Tony Gwynn, there's not many San Diego athletes that stick around their entire career for this city and for these fans. And, you never heard Rivers get up there and say he wasn't having fun, saying he wanted to trade and all that. The guy went out and he just balled and he loved the Chargers. He loved this team. He loved the city. Yeah, I'm rooting for him 100%. I hope he doesn't get hurt. I hope the best for him and the Colts. They almost pulled it off. They had pulled it off, man. If they had pulled it off, boy, I tell you,
right?
What a conversation.
Well, that's coming from a initially formerly Charger fan. Obviously, Phillip Rivers is a staple of what a Charger fan I think was during our time. But we got to hear from the Raider fan, okay, and see what he says about that. Even though he's living in San Diego as well. So, Nick, what do you make of Mr. Phillip Rivers?
I mean, I think everybody kind of shares the same. It's a pretty cool story. I mean, I don't care for him either one way or the other, but he was a hell of a competitor. You
That's
know,
the
I
silver and
respect
black.
him. I mean, what do
That's
you
a
want me to say?
silver and black.
What do you want me to say? I hated the way he threw the ball. I feel, it was, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But you know what? He was a competitor. And he was, I felt like he was a great leader. I felt like some of those Charger teams were, other than the Charger curse, like they were the best in the league, for a few years there. The favorite to win the Super Bowl. So, I know all you fans, really thought you guys were gonna get one out of that group. So, much respect to him and what he's done and just his passion for the game and football. And like, I wish they would have pulled it off. It would have been such a cool story. It would have been cool.
Right.
They obviously
For
played
sure.
conservative, but honestly, I don't think they played conservative on purpose. Obviously, I think that was the game plan going in. But like I said earlier, like let's say Seattle would have scored a couple touchdowns, I would have been very interested to see would they have opened it up. But
Right.
Yeah.
watching that game, Jake, like you're saying, like you're just like, hey, let's just play it safe.
Yeah.
Our defense is holding up, and let's just have a chance to win. And he drove him down, kicked the game-winning field goal. Like that's all you're gonna ask for him.
Yeah.
Defense gave up the last-minute field goal themselves to lose it, but that's all you can ask for. From that guy. And like I said, I don't know if they just like said like they held it back because he couldn't do it. It's more like why risk it if you don't need to?
It's already such a risk with him out
it's
there.
already a risk.
They're already in it.
Why do you want to do a 7-step drop and have him get
Yeah.
hammered, hurt, sack, fumble? Like it was a field goal game. So it was a field goal game the whole time. Like, hey, keep handing the ball off to Jonathan Taylor, keep throwing it to the flat, keep throwing these small, and just hey, we'll have a chance to win at the end. And they did. And I thought it was I thought it was a smart coaching decision. Going out and playing them and getting them. I mean, that's it makes sense. I know people are like, it's crazy. It's like he talks to what is Steichen like all the time, still to this day.
Yeah.
He knows the offense. He's played with 15 of those players.
Right.
He was in the same huddle, 15 of them still. He, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to learn that. He knows it. Like, it wasn't. It's crazy that it's 5 years to come back. I get that part, but it wasn't crazy that it was him.
The decision.
Like it makes sense. You have a good quality squad. You just need somebody to lead and run the offense, be a game manager, and let your defensive run game and like let's do a playoff push. You put a rookie out there, you're pretty much done for the season. I mean, he could maybe go out, but that's
the Colts have been on such a skid. Like they are in. We need to win now, and there's nobody else in that unique of a situation that could come in 3 days and know the playbook and be ready to go. I totally get the decision on why they chose him to come back, why they asked him to come back, because they're all in on this season. They don't have first round picks the next 2 years. Like they're all in.
Very unique situation. There's no one else, even like there's not a situation out there, and that's why it's like never happened before, like where 5 years later you have the same coach, same players, like where's that has ever happened? Even maybe Tom Brady, like he goes back and it's Josh McDaniels there, and could he do it? This and that. Like again, it wouldn't surprise me. Like he could do it, but like say if Rodgers leaves,
Pete Carroll with Geno Smith.
Like, shut up.
Sorry. Sorry, I was getting carried away.
Or just it's because normally when a good enough quarterback leaves, like in 5 years, there's usually a different offensive coordinator or a different coach, or it's very rare once you lose a Hall of Fame quarterback. And as we saw, like when Tom Brady left and this and that, like the team pretty much kind of either tanks or they have their new guy in place, right? Like, so it's a very unique situation that the Colts stayed, relevant. Like you said, they're all in. They went and traded for Sauce Gardner, so that was unlucky that he got hurt and all that stuff. So
yeah,
they had to do something where they had to win now, and it made sense. And Honestly, even though I'm not a Phillip Rivers guy, like it would have been cool to see him win. That would have been sick.
Well,
Yeah.
let's touch more on that and finish up the show with a little bit more on that because there's something else spiraling through the sports media of somebody who's not retired. Jacob. So why is it that Mr. Cam Newton is not somebody who's in line for one of these situations?
You want to know why?
Hey, no, let me finish the question.
It's so
Okay,
bad.
maybe you weren't the right guy for this question. Let me finish the question. Okay, he is not retired. And you're telling me that there's no situation. They barely threw the ball. Like his commentator is saying, dude, like you're in shape. Like it ain't 5 years. Like you, yes, it's situational. Yes, it's a coach, whatever. He's like, but dude, like you're still somewhat in shape. You're trying to stay in shape. You're trying to, even though you're not putting it out there, you're still ready or anticipating a call in case for this situation. But why Phillip Rivers and not Cam Newton?
No. Okay, first off, the guy gets up and he dresses like a fucking like Willy Wonka every day on TV. Okay? How do we know Cam Newton is keeping in shape? Like, how do we know? The only thing we ever see from Cam Newton is he's on TV claiming that this is racist, that is racist, this is racist, that is racist. You know how you pick Phillip Rivers over Cam Newton? Watch Phillip Rivers' press conference. The guy has a passion for the game that I don't care who you are, any player in that league, in that locker room is going to get behind this guy because they believe that that guy, when he's out on that field, has a passion to win. You go watch Cam Newton his last year, with New England and all that. The way he gets up in front of the media, it's like he don't give a shit. He don't care. Like, I am so sick and tired of these people, like, they didn't get. I even heard the old Colin Kaepernick. He's still out there. He's not getting a shot. These guys don't give a shit about the game enough to where they're actually staying in shape, where they're actually going out and proving to teams that they can stay in shape. Like the last time Colin Kaepernick had a tryout where teams wanted to come watch him, he didn't even show up. So I'm so sick and tired. Like Cam Newton, the reason you don't get called because you dress like an idiot. You go out there and you make all these racist claims. What was it a few weeks ago? The Drake May thing.
He set off.
Something about that. And you're telling me that locker room is going to be excited to see fucking, Mr. fucking Willy Wonka walk through the fucking door? Give me a break. Like, it's not even close to me.
Okay.
It's not even close.
I think I know how you feel. I think I know how you feel.
Rivers has 10 kids. He's out coaching football. He's working with he's working with quarterbacks in the offseason. It's like I'm so sick and tired of hearing that. I'm so sick of it. It's a race baited question topic. Give me a break. With that being said, why not Nick Foles? Super Bowl MVP. Why not Nick Foles? He's out there. Like, give me a break.
I'm only coming from the sense of like I'm not like I said, because I agree with you. Like, because here's one of his sayings. Honestly, if you look good, you play good, they pay good, right? And one of my responses was, "Well, dude, you look like an ass clown now, so that's why you play like shit." So I agree with you. So I'm not coming from a Panthers perspective. Like I said, it's very unique.
Like, when's the last time he played?
The Phillip Rivers, the coach thing is very unique. I'm just saying he's not retired. That's all I'm saying. He's not retired. He never claimed it. So that's all.
That last a long time. And I'll just keep it football related, even though I agree with everything Jake said. You have to be accurate. It's your number one thing. You look at all the quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers is 42 playing still right. One of the most accurate quarterbacks ever.
Yeah.
Brees played forever. One of the most accurate quarterbacks ever. Tom Brady, we already know, right? Anybody who wants to push 40 and try to keep playing, your number one asset as a quarterback, obviously, physical trait needs to be accuracy. It can't be running the ball. It can't be, it can't be anything else. It can't be arm strength. It can't be even Matthew Stafford, who has a missile. The guy is accurate, right? With that cannon. And he's even said he's lost obviously some zip on the ball. He's had some soldier injury. Like, you're gonna get hurt. You're gonna, like, if you cannot accurately throw the ball, it's gonna be very hard for you to keep growing as a quarterback and continue to have success because all your other athletic abilities are going to catch up to you. Father time always does, but accuracy doesn't leave you. You might lose a little bit of velocity, but if you can throw a ball on a dime, you can throw a ball on a dime. There is nothing about that. And Philip Rivers is one of the most accurate quarterbacks as well. I'm going to say it now because we're bringing it up. He throws like a girl, but you know what? It gets there. Like I've always thought he had a girly arm
softball
motion.
pitch.
Yeah, little side arm 3/4, like
Yeah.
like can't not this powerful over the top, sling it, like a Matthew Stafford. You know, he kind of does the whole elbow push. But guess what? Every time we played against them, he laid it right there in the defender, right there in
Yeah.
the receiver's arms, and touchdown again. Like, can't hate on the guy. The guy put it right there. So it didn't matter how he threw it. It didn't matter, how hard he threw it. It didn't matter. It's did you put it in the spot? And that's what it needs. And unfortunately, Cam Newton was never good at that. That was
Nope.
never his strength. Never. He was never an accurate quarterback. He had the arm talent, could throw it a mile, can run people over. Everybody can make the throws, but can you make them consistently? And as every year went on, he couldn't do it. There's plenty of guys in the league even now who struggle with that consistency. That was, we bring up Josh Allen a lot. That was his thing. Like, if he needs to become more accurate. He obviously has and grew that part of his game, but that was one of his, you know, downfalls at the beginning. But even all these young quarterbacks, all these like, if they don't learn, I mean, honestly, I think nobody talks about it because Mahomes is great. I think that's what's lost with Mahomes. Like, even though some of those interceptions not on him, like no one mentioned that the one that Travis Kelsey tipped up, that ball was behind him.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I understand he should have caught it. I'm not saying that, but again,
Right.
I'm just saying that like I'll just because he's the GOAT. If Tom Brady throws that ball's on the money in his chest, and that's where the clutch gene comes. The clutch comes from all the work you do in the offseason, from all the preparation. So when it's time to make that throw, Tom Brady always made that stupid throw, and it still bugs me to today. You know, this tight window or
Tom
whatever.
Brady, Philip
Like,
Rivers.
always like it just what it is. And Patrick Mahomes has that it factor, and he does make that throw. I'm just saying the reason why he doesn't have the big stats anymore. I feel like he's become a little bit more inaccurate. Obviously, he's using his legs a lot more. I don't know if he has a little happy feet, but we'll see how he comes back. And that's one of the things I heard on the shows today. Like Patrick Mahomes is going to maybe have to change his game a little bit and not rely so much on his legs and learn to, rely on his arm a little more, which is kind of weird to say about somebody who's accomplished so much. But if he still wants to play another 15 years, guess what? Even Patrick Mahomes is going to have to, hey guys, you need to put things on a dime to your receiver so that you don't have to run around so much. You can't be the leading rusher of your team. You're gonna keep getting hurt. That's the problem, and we kind of have seen that manifest over the last 3 years. So,
Hey,
anyway, back to Cam Newton.
Hey.
He's not accurate enough to come in and try to be a 40-year-old quarterback or whatever, however old he is.
Hey,
like it's just not gonna happen.
When I transitioned, okay, when I came out and I transitioned, I came out with a Cam Newton jersey. Okay, I made a point of it that you have to support your quarterback. Okay, but when he lost his ability, his feet, when he lost his ability to be effective with his feet, he no longer was a relevant quarterback in the league, and that's fact. And so that's
I'll give anybody a chance. Cam Newton, his physical talent, even now with his feet and stuff, but you watch a 42-year-old Brady, you watch a 44-year-old Rivers on the field, after everything that those guys, and they're still, you can just see the passion when Rivers threw that touchdown and he's doing the little kicks and he's coming off the field, he's all jacked up. You don't see that passion from Cam Newton, and so
or Joe Burrow,
there for me, I don't care what back and forth with talent or whatever ability. I want somebody that guys look at and be like, I'm fighting for that dude, and Cam Newton's not it.
Fantastic. Well, I knew you were the right person again, Jake, to ask that particular question. But I just want to say thank you guys once again. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Nick, for being here for the fans. being here for our viewers as we finalize this fantasy football season. Once again, we just want to remind you guys, we don't stop. You know, we believe that everything has fantasy football implication. Okay, so we are going to move, once fantasy is over, we're going to continue covering the playoffs, all these things, the Black Mondays, the additions, the free agencies. We go over all this stuff because it's going to have fantasy football implications all the way through the draft at the end of April. So, once again, thank you, Nick. Thank you, Jake. Thank you to our viewers. See you
Keep
again.
paying
live
attention to
once
the
again.
Bears.
And we'll see you guys again
Good
next
luck.
week.
Good luck, Ben. Good luck,
Tuesday.
everybody.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
man. Good luck, man.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
Later, guys.
Later.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say.